Hi, this is Ms. Feldman-Tentori for e-business at the Hague University of Applied Sciences, and today's online lecture will cover SEO. I'll also look at measurement and maintenance of a website and the finance side. So for the students who are working on assignment 2, this is all relevant information for you. Some of you also attended last week's lecture, the Google program that we are working with, and I covered some there. And if you weren't able to make that or you want to recap, then you can go to the online Google Digital Garage, which is this one that you should all be working with. You need to hand in your completion certificate for this, and it has a lot of useful information for your assignment. But to move on, SEO. What is SEO? There's a lot of good videos out there. This is one you can look up and it will give you a brief overview. But essentially, SEO is search engine optimization, and it is matching up what people type into Google or in any other search engine, internet search engine, and hopefully, if you're running a business, people that are looking for your products and services will match up with what's on your website, with the keywords that you use on your website. So it's really just matching those two up. There is a Google SEO Starter Guide PDF. Not all of it's relevant for your websites, but it's basic information that's good to know. There, again, are quite a few videos out there that you can go and check out if you want to deepen your knowledge. And as I keep encouraging you throughout this whole module, this is a Year 2 subject, meaning we expect that you will also do some research and look up concepts. We will certainly give you the guidance. We will give you the guidelines to say, for example, you need to know about SEO. And then we would like you to go and have a look at what kind of resources you can find out there. If you use any of these concepts and your research in your report, put it in a reference list, show us where you got your information, and this is an excellent basis for doing your thesis in the future. If you want to go into more depth as well beyond the course that you have to do as a pass-fail requirement, there is an Analytics Academy. And as I record this, it depends on when you listen to it, next week we are doing the Google lecture in the Aula on Wednesday morning, the 21st of November, which will go into a little bit more depth on analytics. But here's just a crash course on it. But first we'll look at maintenance, maintaining your website. Some companies build a website and think that they can just kind of build it and forget about it, but you need to maintain your website. Here's just a couple of reasons why. Firstly, if you have out-of-date information, you'll lose customers. So if you have incorrect pricing, out-of-stock products in an e-commerce, incorrect phone number, links don't work, it really makes your business look bad. You also need to make sure everything is running smoothly. So if you set up a contact form on your website, like I have on all the websites I've built over the years, I didn't maintain my websites well enough, and I found at one point I wasn't getting any emails for several months on one of my websites. And even though I'm not super active, so it wasn't a big deal, but there are a few emails in there that were important, and it was not a good idea to miss out on them. You also need to update your website to resist hacking and spam. I wrote a blog post a little while ago where I gave some tips on website maintenance on WordPress, which is my preferred platform. So if you want to, you can go and look at that. But again, there's lots of other resources out there that you can use. These are the tips that I came up with. So real basics to begin with. You should check your homepage. Is everything looking okay? Are there any issues with your domain name? I've worked with businesses who have forgotten to renew their domain name and didn't have a auto renew with their hosting business or their domain name business that they'd bought it from. And then your website just doesn't work anymore. So if someone types in your URL, they're not going to see your website. You should also try from different devices and browsers to see what it looks like. WordPress and most other website tools these days make that really easy for you. In the past, you had to manually work on that, but now most websites are what you call responsive. And responsive means that if you go to visit the website on a tablet or a mobile phone, it's still easily readable. That should happen automatically on most of the platforms that you're using, but it's worth double checking. Another thing is that you need to export and back up your site. Now, if you're working with WordPress.com and the free one or the upgraded versions, which I have my businesses with, they do this all for you, so you don't have to worry about it. If you have what's called a WordPress.org, which is where you've organized your own hosting, it depends on the size of your website. It depends on the different plugins you have. WordPress, who are owned by a company called Automatic, have a product called Jetpack, where they also sell upgrades that include website backups, but you should have a backup of your website. You should run any updates. Again, if you've got the free site or you're dealing with what is called managed hosting with WordPress.com or with another hosting company, you essentially pay them to run these for you. But if not, if you're particularly a small business, you need to make sure that you run the updates, because otherwise what will happen is hackers find weaknesses in previous software versions, and it's necessary to have regular updates to make sure that you keep it secure. I don't know if you've ever looked at a business where somebody's asked a question either on the website or a blog or on social media and the company just don't answer. That is a really bad look. You should check and action comments either daily or weekly, depending on what your business plan is. And you should respond to all comments. Delete any spam. There are tools that can help you do that. And that is an important part of maintaining your online presence. You should also check and analyze your statistics, because it's really interesting. You can see where your visitors are coming from, what the most popular section of your site is. You can do that within WordPress or Wix or Weebly if you're using them, or you can connect Google Analytics. My websites all got hacked a few years ago. I have several websites and I thought I had them set up quite securely. I was using WordPress.org, so it wasn't managed hosting. I was supposed to be running updates and I was supposed to be doing backups. I thought I was, but not well enough, because several of them got hacked, and I thought, well, why would anyone bother hacking such a small business as mine? And it's because what they do is they put like malware throughout your site, so that people visiting what look like innocent small business sites, if you visit that and you don't have sufficient security on your computer, then it can download malware. So I needed to spend quite a bit of time and money cleaning up my sites, and that's when I decided to move to managed hosting, because I just didn't have the skills to be able to fix all that myself. I thought I did, but it was just quite a stressful experience, actually. Keep things as simple as possible. When websites and blogs and all that kind of thing came out, I got quite excited and enjoyed building things and set up quite a few different sites. But then you have to remember that you have to maintain them and manage them. So it takes quite a bit of time. So keep things as simple as possible for your business. How do you measure and what do you measure? So WordPress themselves has analytics. They offer you the opportunity to read it depending on which dashboard you're using, but either on WordPress.com or they use something called Jetpack. I won't go into too much depth in this lecture because you just need to know the basics, but there's several different ways that you can check your analytics. But these are really important details for your company, because once you build this amazing website, you need to know what people are looking at, where they're coming from, and it's quite interesting how much data that you can gather. Google Analytics can also be plugged into a lot of different websites, and you can read the data over there, and that's a free account that you can set up, but you need to link to your website. It's not possible to do with a WordPress.com account, but so for your assignment you won't be linking Google Analytics, but for a bigger business who has a bigger and an upgraded website, then this is certainly worth doing. If you want to learn more, so for those of you who are looking at a career or a job in digital marketing, then it's worth going and checking out the Google Analytics Academy, because it can be a little overwhelming at first. I still have trouble sometimes understanding some of the power of Google Analytics because I just use the basics, but the bigger your company gets, the more this data is valuable to you to help you grow your business. Just some real basics though. We will go through this also in the Google lecture in a little more depth next week, but knowing terms such as bounce rate, the home page, the about page, and where your users are visiting, and the number of page views and sessions is important to know. So the behavior with page visits, this is quite an old screenshot, but it's from my own Dutch Australian website, and it's interesting for me. This has gone up significantly now. If you look at number 5, the first Monday of the month, when I first moved to the Netherlands from Australia and I heard that siren go off, it freaked me out because I had no idea what was going on. So I wrote a blog post about it to help other people. And on the first Monday of the month now, I have people visiting my website and my statistics go up significantly. So of the hundreds of blog posts I've written, that was a really popular one. So was the one about baby and children's clothing sizes, because I was trying to help out my mother in Australia who wanted to buy some clothes as a gift for my children, and I didn't know the comparison, so I created a comparison chart, and it seems other people have found that useful. And there's a few other things there, but it's useful for a business to know what is of interest to their customers. Also, how long people spend on your website is important to know. Most people, as you can see there, visit your website and leave. That's called bounce rate, going in and out of your site really quickly. That can be a good thing if people are just coming to your website to get a phone number or your address or something like that, that's fine. But if you want to keep them on your site and engage with them more, or have them shop or have them buy something from you, then the fact that they're coming in and out really quickly is something that you need to examine a bit more. Demographics, so when people are logged in on their computers or from their IP addresses, then the statistics can pick up where they're coming from. So you can see here, as I expected on Dutch Australian, I get round about most of my visits are from Australia. The next location is the Netherlands, and that's exactly what I expect, because I've written this site aimed at a community of Australians in the Netherlands and the Dutch in Australia, or Nederlanders in Australia. So that's what I expect. I didn't really expect traffic from the US and the UK, so that's interesting. A little bit from Canada. These stats are quite old. I've noticed that my interest from New Zealand has picked up as well. So that's something I could consider for my own website, to start perhaps writing some articles for people from New Zealand, or aiming at people from the States. So it's this kind of data that helps you make business decisions. You can also see things like which browser your visitors are using, and in theory that shouldn't make a big difference, but sometimes it does. For example, there's a few websites that I visit, including the university ones, where I'm a Safari user and an Apple user, and the site just doesn't work well on that. But if I go to Chrome, things work better. One tip is you want to keep the users coming back. So one way you can do that is have regular valuable content like blogging, keep it relevant to your target market, and you should educate, inform, and entertain your customers. The financial side. So what does a company need to spend? I've already shown a table in the past, but make sure you do your research, use some guesstimates. But imagine that you were sitting down with this business, or if it was your own business, you'd want to know, how much do I want to spend and what's the value of that? In assignment 1, we were looking at IT finances. Here in assignment 2, we are only looking at the website. However, if you like, and we would be impressed by the fact if you bought some costings for social media and SEO in as well, because that is driving traffic to your website and it's relevant to your website. Also, scalability. If you want to grow your business, this is what WordPress is amazing for. You can see they've got different plans. You can start small, and then as your business grows, you can upgrade quite easily. So if you were at my lecture last week, remember that free is never free. Free also means that someone needs to spend time. So if you're doing your costings, who is it setting up the hosting and the backups and the back end? You need to pay somebody to do that if you don't know how to do it yourself. And if you're doing it yourself, then you certainly need to realize your time is also valuable because it takes you away from doing other things. I've put this in US dollars because a lot are based in the USA, but of course you can do it in euros or wherever your company is based. But this is an idea of the type of costs that people need to cater for. It's just a start, and I have to say, when I did this table a year or two ago, the very small business, you could get away with a very cheap hosting and URL, but now I really recommend that every business budgets at least a few hundred euros for their website, because you have to. You can get free backups and hosting. However, WordPress and other services are realizing that it's a lot more work to manage a website. They do offer things for free, but they also encourage you to upgrade. So I would say look at the WordPress sites and do at least the 4 or the 8 or the 25 euros per month costings. How to build a website. These are some checklists of where you should be. I know that some of you are quite behind on the assignment. Just a reminder again, this is year 2 now. We do not walk you through step by step every single part of the assignment. Well, we still give you a lot of help. There's online resources, there's an online walkthrough, and we're here to answer your questions, but you also need to take some responsibility and get this done on time. As I record this, you have 3 weeks and 2 days until the assignment's due. So you should have read through it, understand it, defined your goals, created either a WordPress.com or another, Wix or a Weebly or one other website. You need to learn what the difference is between posts and pages and widgets and plugins, and the website service you choose will have help sections or getting started sections you can read through. You need to look at themes, how menus work, and look for help and resources. Miss Moore recorded an online lecture last week on website design. She's done it in a PowerPoint format, so you need to go and download that and watch it from Blackboard. It's not on the YouTube channel. I've tried to put it across, but it's not working. So go to Blackboard, download that, and she explains these concepts for you. The SEO and social media strategy, I will do a separate quick lecture on social media strategy. This has covered some SEO, and the online Google workshops cover SEO. I've given you templates that you can use in your report if you wish, which are kind of table, but really you just need to make some references to which tools you'll be using, why, and with SEO, remember that you need to figure out keywords and you need to figure out the search terms that people would be using to get to your site. If you need help, please ask. It is too late. Every year we see in the course reviews, thankfully most people enjoy eBusiness. We get quite positive feedback every year. However, there is always a couple of students who say it was not clear. I am doing my best to make things as clear as possible with you in the workshops, as are the other lecturers, in online lectures, in live lectures. However, if you do not understand something, please ask. You can ask in a consult hour. I unfortunately am on limited hours at the moment, so you can email me if you prefer. Ms. Moore and Ms. Van der Ven should also be available, and Mr. Jungmans if you want to ask them some quick questions. But please ask. We are here to help. Make sure you're up to date. Watch all the lectures. Some of the questions that we get, it's very clear that people have not watched the lectures. eBusiness is quite flexible because you can watch lectures when you wish. However, again, you need to take some initiative and make sure that you do watch them because there's important information in them. Screencasting. You will need to do this soon. You will need to walk through your website. This is exactly what I'm doing right now. I'm recording this. I have a small program that I've downloaded, a free program on my computer, and I'm just talking into my headset. We would like to see your website, and you need to talk us through your website. So another way you could use this is if you have any questions or you get stuck with your website. I'm quite happy if you record a short screencast and send me the link, then I'll have a look and I can probably answer your questions quite quickly. So I've made several of these, and last year's students, if you look on the International Business YouTube channel, all the previous students have made a screencast, and there's still quite a lot in a playlist there if you want to look at some previous year's websites. Check the resources. This is an old screenshot, but we do still have resources on Blackboard. And if you have any questions, again, please ask. So good luck, and we look forward to seeing you in the workshops and reading your reports.